What's up, guys? It's your boy JJ, and today we're going to be talking about a very problematic and irritating thing I've been noticing lately. And it's not really something new, but it's something that's just been very prevalent in society nowadays, and it's to do with streaming. Now, there's nothing wrong with streaming in my view, but obviously the type of content that you partake in does matter a lot. And oh my god, like these people. I wouldn't even be surprised if people en masse were claiming that they will use the CIA assets, because there's just so many just weird ass streamers that are just coming out of the woodworks and are just getting a huge following. And I don't even know why, because a lot of the times they're not even actually entertaining. Either they're dumb as shit, or they're dumb as shit. That's literally what it is. You can't really, there's not really much to choose from when it comes to these kind of people, and there's a large array of them, Now, I'm just going to be mostly covering a very few, but first off, we're going to start with Clavicular. Now, Clavicular is known as a looks maxer, he's kind of the face of looks maxing right now. And, Clavicular has been, I checked out some clips. I don't watch his streams, obviously. I don't watch any of these people's streams. But as I've checked out, some of his clips, he just seems like an extremely boring dude. The guy just has no personality whatsoever. He's just a mute guy who just doesn't have any, he sounds depressed a lot of the time, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the drugs he's taken. And that's another thing I forgot to mention, this guy promotes drugs. It's very shocking, in regards to how a lot of people watch this guy and are fans of him, because he is pretty, I wouldn't say he's famous, but he's pretty well known, which is shocking, because again, it's from what I've seen of his clips, it's just, he doesn't, nothing happens. It's boring as shit. I don't know why people watch that garbage, but either way, there's been some recent drama in regards to him, and this is a common thing which Clavicular likes to do, where he likes to go around and, he'll basically try to pick up girls at clubs and his own parties at his own place. And there's been these two recent scandals. The first one being this, was it the first one or the second one? Actually, I don't really remember, nor do I care, but one of them was involving a girl slapping him, and here's the clip.
Fuck you, bitch! You're getting sued for assault. I'm gonna press charges on you. Hey, hold your ear, call the police.
Now, the whole thing with that girl slapping him was mostly because of the fact that apparently, I don't know, she just didn't like him, and she basically was chatting shit, and then he ended up egging her on by saying, oh yeah, you can hit me if you want. And then from there she obviously fell into his trap, because technically speaking, he could, I don't know if she's gonna obviously be able to bypass that in court, but he could just simply say I was joking. But either way, to move on from that, there's been this common theme in regards to his most viral clips. It's involving women, and it's involving him hanging around party girls, hoes and shit, that kind of stuff. He hangs around those kind of girls, and what this ends up doing is that when he ends up creating an environment full of just freaks, the dregs of society, and then people end up making more generalizations of women, and from that, and it's a bit of an issue. But either way, it is what it is. It's all you can just hope, and is that people don't fall for this. But realistically, it's kind of evident that a lot of people are just stupid, because he always seems to find these kind of women at clubs. He's always going clubbing, he's always going to extremely hedonistic environments, and he's finding these kind of women, and he ends up basically using them as a way to, I wouldn't even say, I don't know if he's pushing an agenda, who knows, but realistically though, it gets even worse, because recently there was a case of this married woman going to his clubs with her daughter, and then, why did I say duder? Did I say duder or daughter? Whatever. Either way, she basically went to this club with her daughter, and as she went there with her daughter, she ended up basically partying and shit. I don't she technically wasn't cheating on him, but being a grown woman partying at basically doing clubbing, that kind of stuff with your daughter, I mean, not a lot of people would see as a normal thing, but from there he basically called her out for it, and it was embarrassing her. And here's the clip.
You're literally the worst parent I've ever seen. That's so fucked up. And she's in this state, and you're out here cheating on your husband. Yes, you are. You're disgusting. I don't know why you would do that. You're literally the most evil parent I've ever seen. Get her water and sit her down.
Now, what's funny about the whole clip is that, like, eventually the husband came out and spoke out about the whole thing. And as he came out, he basically just confirmed he was a cuck, basically stating that he didn't care what she did or whatever, which was kind of bizarre to say the least. But yeah, I don't really know what to say about that. I mean, like, somebody who's going out to, clubbing with your daughter, I wouldn't really see that as something to be like a good thing. Like, cheating aside, she's introducing your daughter to a very dangerous environment. People could rope you into things that you don't want to be doing. You could get drugged, get your drink spiked, that kind of stuff. And she's happily engaging in that kind of stuff with her daughter. But either way, to move on from that, in summary, the point is that, like, he's just hanging around rambunctious women, and then he ends up basically humiliating them and, humiliating himself as well. And this leads to, obviously, like, vast generalizations being made about genders or whatever. But either way, this guy, Clav, honestly, as a streamer, he has to be, like, just one of the most boring, ridiculous people I've ever seen in my life. Like, he just, once again, he's emotionless. Like, he's just a bland guy. And even in his streams, it's like the life of the stream is carried by other people. The highlights on the stream is whenever he's like hanging around like bizarre women, or bringing on guys like Rampage Jackson and whatnot. And moving on to the next streamer, we're gonna have to obviously talk about Rakai. Now, Rakai hasn't really been, like, I guess you could say, in the news lately, I guess, but like, he is somebody who is like been known to be just a downright, like, just joke. Like, I swear to God, he's been like molded in the lab by the CIA. Like, the CIA like designed this guy like Cell and like just released him out to frolic in the public and just terrorize people. But either way, he's just a downright like crazy dude. And I'm gonna put some clips here to show you some examples of what I'm talking about.
I'll say, listen, bitch, what's the coolest dick you ever sucked? What the fuck off my dick? That's what I was gonna say. Chat, Lord, I was gonna say that shit to her face, bro, and for everybody. But I had to just sit down and think. I'm black, petite, sit the fuck down and chill. Cinderella, I'm so happy I can say that to you. But
one of the main issues I have with Rakai is how you literally can't fucking understand a word he's saying. Like, he literally sounds like he's speaking in his own language. And, on top of that, he's also he's doing the same thing as Clav, hanging around, hoes, hanging around, prostitutes, hanging around just like rambunctious women. And then from that, what he'll then do is he'll then just like start further humiliating them and himself. And I don't know why people watch this. It's just like this, it's just slop, bro. I just swear, it's just slop. It's just absolutely shocking. Like, in summary, like, both of these guys like are just like downright like the dregs of society. Like, they're just embarrassing, ridiculous, weird individuals who just do disgusting, weird things. And then, like, for some bizarre reason, millions of people watch them. Millions of people watch them. Millions of people are fans of them. Like, it's crazy. I even have relatives who openly told me like that they're like, they're fans of guys like Rakai. And I just had to like, walk away at that point. I was like, oh no, bro, like, these kids are cooked. Like, watching this kind of stuff. Like, I remember growing up, I used to watch a regular show. I used to watch, Cartoon Network, Ben 10, that kind of stuff. Nowadays, kids are watching this like CIA, like AI generated creature and some like drug induced freak go around in public, just talking to just freaks and just doing weird things. And further, like, just once again, like, it's just, the whole thing is just weird because what they're doing is nothing like remarkable, nothing entertaining, nothing worth noting. And they're just weirdos always searching for that clip. They're always searching for the one thing that basically just makes them famous. Like, they'll have like a one clip that'll go viral and whatnot. But yeah, that's mostly what I wanted to talk about. And it's pretty sad to see that kids nowadays are just mostly indulging in this kind of stuff, like making weirdos like this famous. And I guess you could say it's kind of been a downward trend over the years. Slowly it's more evident that like the less work you put into your content, the more famous you're likely to become. Like, it's just mostly about embarrassment and humiliation, so that's all I wanted to say. And yeah, see ya.